Hi there, I'm Stephanie Shanti, and this is your Yin Yoga wall snack. So, we're going to be doing a short-ish practice of Yin, so kind of long held positions. You want to make sure you're as comfortable as possible and definitely not overstretching. You want to do 70% of your stretch capacity max so that you've got the other kind of 30-40% to rest into over time. They're not going to be very long holds, but like a couple of minutes, maybe 3 or 4 for some of them. You might have a couple of blocks handy. Got my 2 blocks there. This is just if we sit in a butterfly pose so that you've got something to resist gravity. I definitely recommend having something. Again, we're trying to just hold back 60 to 70%. And if you don't have blocks, you could use a cushion under each leg, or you could use rolled up blankets or rolled up towels. Then you might have, I've got my bolster here for later, something flat and cushiony. Could be a sofa cushion. If you don't have a bolster, a couple of pillows will do the trick. And I've got my blanket here as well. I've also got a flat block there, which you could also use the blanket for. So lots of equipment, but I'm going to give you some options because Yin is a very personal practice and everyone's stretch capability is different, so I can't just say do this because you're really looking for your stretch sensation. Anyway, we're going to start with our backs to the wall in a butterfly position. So you can go right against the wall and have the soles of your feet together, and that will help you to really sit upright. If it wasn't comfortable to do this, you could sit on your blanket or your flat block, and you definitely want to kind of resist the floor a little bit. So I'm going to use my blocks, and because I don't want the corner of my blocks cutting into me, I'm going to angle them so that I can actually reduce the sensation so that I can stay here for longer. Are they going to stay? I wonder. Well, they want to be flat anyway, so I'm just going to let them be flat. So I can have my hands, however, if they're on my legs and they're pushing me down, that's not really very good. So I could take them even out, and that will encourage my chest to open, my shoulders to come back. I can encourage my chin to go down, or I could just have them hanging in my inner ankles. And again, if this is a tough position, try lifting yourself up. So bring something under your bum, like a flat blanket, a flat block. Block's quite nice, or even sitting on a bolster. So if you're not used to sitting upright like this, it can be quite a strain. Soles are together, but we're not really worrying about how they stay together. And I could have more than this holding me up, resisting the floor, so that I can feel a little tug on the tissues of the inner thighs, but it's definitely not overstretching, and I definitely feel some support preventing me from just hanging. I don't really want my inner thighs hanging, suspending in gravity for a long period of time. That would definitely probably feel a bit unsafe to them in the end. And the thing is, when they feel unsafe, they start tightening up more. So if we're kind of doing this to find some looseness and pliability in the tissues, we actually need to give them support. So then they relax into this position over time and they let go. Whereas if they feel like you're basically trying to break them, they'll create more collagen and they will definitely prevent you from stretching. If you're really uncomfortable here in the lower back, again, most of the time lifting yourself up is going to help. You might want to creep your sitting bones forward if you're not used to that much of an upright position. Try to use the wall with your head to kind of draw the back of the head up a little bit and drop the chin down. If you feel like your shoulders are coming forward and you want to really open that up, try having the hands kind of somewhere near the wall, so I can take hold of the blocks here and I don't have to hold the arms steady. So just hold for 1 more minute. So see what you can let go of, see what doesn't need to work. Sometimes here the bones of our feet can be uncomfortable. You could be like resting the bones on a blanket. Again, it's really personal practice, having to find out really what suits you. And sometimes it's not the first time you do it, it's not the time. It's not the time when you go, oh my God, that's amazing. But as long as we don't feel, in danger in any way, and really trying to listen in to the muscles we're really going for less is more mentality here, so that we can just melt, really. It's quite a hard thing to bring into a yoga practice often, because yoga's become a little bit more fitness oriented. There's a lot of striving, there's a lot of wanting to get results. Whereas yin's kind of the opposite of that. It's like trying not to do so much, trying just to find a position you can be in and stay. Although I'll talk a bit more at the beginning, I will let that kind of phase out a little bit, as you might feel the relaxation response kind of kicking in as part of this yin. So take your last 2 or 3 breaths here. And then very gently, you're going to allow yourself to kind of relax out of this. So this means for me, I really want to kind of round my spine a little bit. And just take the slack off those muscles that have been holding me upright. And then just gently stretching the legs, bringing the knees back towards each other and just easing those feet forward. And then just letting them flop from side to side. And then maybe even bringing your bottom away from the wall, so you can kind of just flop. Don't worry about being a bit floppy here. And just allowing everything to go through. And so now I'm going to turn towards the wall, so you're just going to see a different view. I'm going to take my blocks out of the way, but I'm definitely going to have my blanket and my bolster nearby. So we're going to do a squat now by the wall. And so the closer in you are to the wall, probably the more intense it's going to be. So kind of get nearish the wall and just get your feet up onto the wall. And with the squat, we're going to have the feet wide apart and turning out to the sides, and the knees are going to go to that side as well. And so remember, if you don't feel too much right now, that's okay, because we are going to stay for time. If you don't feel anything, then maybe kind of inch closer to the wall. And if you feel a lot, then come further away from the wall, bring the knees closer together and find somewhere that you can just feel something, just an initial tug on the tissues. So once you've found that, you can work out whether you need to kind of prop and prevent the knees from falling down any further, or whether you're kind of fine just with the feet against the wall. The knees can just rest in gravity and it's not too unsafe. So you can use your hands as a prop stand, just kind of elbows to the side, finding a position on the thighs where you can hold that and prevent them from opening. And if they're fine open and you want to kind of even open the upper back a little bit, then you could even use a cactus position. And then we're going to hold for time once more. And if this was very uncomfortable, you could have your blanket underneath the sacrum. You can choose any position for your arms, so this would be like a T-shape, this is a cactus. Somewhere in between a T-shape and a cactus is often a bit more kind of comfortable than the cactus itself. You definitely don't want a cactus if like your hands are kind of up above the floor and you're straining the front of the shoulder joint. You can also here take advantage of this nice openness in the pelvis, elbows on the floor, have a nice yoni mudra over the pelvic area, or use your hands as a kickstand. And especially if you feel like even holding for a little bit of time, you're beginning to feel maybe some of that stretch sensation in the inner thighs starting to talk to you a bit, like it's not quite as safe as it thought and it might not be able to relax, then just give it a little prop. Here I'm actually just touching my legs, but I've told my inner thighs that they have support if they need them, and it's translating to that feeling of they are now able to let go. So have a good feel inside. Work with your breath and see what you can let go of. See if you're holding on to tension in the feet, the ankles, the knees, the thighs. See if you can let go of any tension in the arms. You're holding on when you need to, when you don't need to. See if you can just feel gravity with your out breath, pulling you down. And here sometimes you feel the connection between the inner thighs and the pelvic floor. And sometimes the pelvic floor starts joining in, and kind of you feel like you're able to, with the breath, kind of feel that gentle, it's not even a pump, it's just this gentle nourishment of the pelvic floor muscles as you breathe in and breathe out. Or you might feel them kind of switching on as the stretch sensation reaches there. As they start to wonder if they're safe to relax, or if you're trying to break them. And they are safe. We've given them support. So as you breathe, just feeling the sensations of the tug, kind of reaching into different areas of the body. Maybe the sacrum can feel like it's dropping. Maybe you even feel that sensation of the thigh bones actually turning in their sockets as you hold for time. Maybe every now and then you feel like a little inner shudder of letting go. This is a really beautiful part of the yin. There's little moments when something else is giving up. Something now feels safe. There's just a little opening. And obviously you don't have to hold for as long as I'm suggesting. You can do shorter holds if it doesn't feel safe. I recommend just finding a way of making it safer with more support, going less into the pose and holding for longer. But at first, when you're discovering and working out what to put where, it might be appropriate just to come out sooner and not take any risks. So take a last deep breath here. And then we're going to just gently, the use of the hands to help, start moving the feet, but really support the outsides of the knees. So the inner thighs are not having to then switch on. And you could even, if there's room, bring the big toes to the wall and just squeeze everything in. You could even squeeze. I mean, there might not be so much room, you might prefer squeezing with a bit of space between the knees, but maybe squeeze less and have a squeeze inside for this particular instance. Or you might have the feet on the floor, the knees further away, and just squeezing them in, squeezing the feet in. And then you're going to cross. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. And I'm going to come to a version of cow head. So I'm going to press on the wall with my feet, lift my hips up, and then I'm going to cross the right leg over the left, and then I'm going to bring myself down. If that doesn't feel safe to you, or if it's too much of a stretch, you can move back away from the wall. Or if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can wiggle yourself in. So I'm kind of swinging my knees side to side and kind of pressing on my elbows to do this kind of beached whale shuffle. And you're then welcome to even walk the little toe side edge of your feet away from each other. Position your pelvis somewhere where it feels comfortable, and just hold in a very relaxed kind of cowhead way. But you might prefer to literally just have that left foot on the wall and the right knee crossed. Either close to the wall, further away from the wall, right leg over the left, or inching that left leg over and seeing if you can position the feet on the wall in a way that you can just rest. So wherever you are, just be happy with where you are. Find what gives you that just a little bit less than your full stretch capacity. 60 to 70%. Somewhere where you can just rest. The left foot either flat on the wall or the little toe sides of the feet against the wall, and then let go, even if the pelvis kind of goes off on a wonk. Just see what you can let go of. Hands again can be on your chest, they can be out on a T, they can be cactused. Just go for the easiest. And just follow the flow of your breath. So after this amount of time that we've been holding these still poses, probably the nervous system has settled itself, and naturally you might be breathing a little bit slower. You might have practiced that kind of concept of letting go, and you're able to just drop that little bit more into gravity, into your out breath. You might be able to settle on the breath a little bit easier. And you could try scanning through the body and just seeing if there's anything that you can let go of. I like to scan through from the toes up to the head, and just wondering with my mind, seeing, are you tense? Is this something I could let go of? Or could I add something to make you feel safe enough? And we don't want to be wriggling around and fiddling with props too much, but it's also okay to like add in support and experiment with different props. I think at the beginning of a yoga, a yin yoga exploration, we are more fiddly, and that's okay. We're learning what we need, how to be creative with gravity and props. So take 3 deep breaths here. See how long and slow they might have become. And so if your left foot, the little toe side of the foot is against the wall, you're going to gently squeeze the knees in towards you and bring that left foot back so that it's on the wall there. And if the left foot was already on the wall, then you're already there. So now we're going to actually twist over to the left. The right leg's on top I'm gonna have my blanket here ready to support my shoulder if I need it, and I've got my bolster here ready to support my knee if I need to, because I'm going to twist the whole thing. The first thing I'm going to do though is press on the wall and move my hips to the opposite way so that I can twist really nicely with my hips. So I'm going to press on the wall, lift the hips, and just shift myself over to the right so that then I can use my left foot to just wiggle me around until I feel either the floor or a bolster. And then I'm going to try and position myself so that I can just relax. My left foot is on the wall, and then I have a bolster to land my right knee, inner ankle or shin. And now my shoulders come up a little bit, so I'm going to prop that. You could just keep the shoulder down and have a higher prop here. And then I'm going to just, because I'm propped up a little bit, I'm going to have my hand on my rib instead of taking it out, because then it's higher. It's not such a good position for my shoulder. This arm I can go anywhere. I could be holding the outside of the thigh. I could be further away from the wall to make this less intense. And I was quite close into the wall, so I'm going to add lots and lots of support here. And I might even move a little bit further away from the wall and explore kind of propping in that angle of the knee and the thigh, just making a bit more space. Oh, that feels really nice. My left foot is just flat on the wall, so that's really helping me stay. This will be a shorter hold, like 1 or 2 minutes. I'm just going to keep my head centered and concentrate on that kind of open twist of the rest of the body. I could turn my head to the right, but I prefer to have my head upright and just let everything else open. I feel my right shoulder dropping back and down, my left hip dropping down. That's my right hip. My nervous system's calming itself now, I don't know. Up from down, left from right. I'm just feeling into the sensations and just making sure I feel safe. Seeing what I can let go of. It's amazing what turns on when we're not looking. So how's the neck and shoulders and jaw and forehead doing? And take a really nice deep breath there. And then we're going to actually uncross that right leg and just bring the knees together and the feet together. And then I'm just going to kind of like heel toe, move that blanket out the way and come back to center. And I might need to then move the hips where I move them over to the right. I'm going to now centralize and have the feet just there, or maybe now I just kind of have this gentle hug. However you want, maybe you want to just extend those heels up for a moment. Find something that's really comfortable just to, before we change sides. And just feeling the difference between sides. You don't want a position where you're working. This isn't another position. This is in between positions where you can just check in and see how you're feeling. To make sure it's effortless and that you can use it to kind of notice. I feel quite wonky personally. I'm ready to unwonk myself. So what I'm going to do is bring my blanket to the other side, and I'll just feed that bolster over my belly, have it near to me for the next side. And then I'm going to bend my knees, I'm going to bring the feet together, and I'm going to cross the left foot over the right, left knee over the right knee. So I'm going to press into the wall, lift my hips, cross, and then lower down. So already when you're lowering down, you can hear the signals. If it's too much, if it doesn't suit your hip, if it doesn't suit your knee, you move away from the wall. You can stay like this. This is really nice. You can have the whole position like this, or you can move that right foot over to the right and find a very gentle shoelace or cow head, where you might want to wriggle in a little bit more. So I'm gonna just swing my knees from side to side and wiggle in and find a position. I can always wiggle out, and then I'm going to just let go and see what happens. Even if my feet kind of flop down, even if my knees flop down, take away the image of what you think the pose should look like and just be there. Just relax. Use gravity underneath you and the wall in front of you to do the work for you. Make sure it's a safe stretch. You're just feeling that you've changed your shape, so there is some sort of tug or stretch going on. It's not that you're not feeling nothing, but check that it's not too much, that you're going to then start to tighten up during the hold. Always find in yin, we're going to just see how quickly we can drop in, how efficient we get at scanning through and letting go, and how interestingly we can watch for those little tiny moments where something else just gives. What can you let go of that you don't need right now? Take your last 3 delicious breaths. And then, so your right foot now, if it's not already on the wall, you're going to just inch it towards the wall, so just moving it. And then if you did move close to the wall like I did, you're probably going to want to move out, otherwise there's quite a lot of squeeze going on that belly. And then I'm back in this kind of half shoelace position. I'm going to shift my hips to the left before I twist to the right. So I'm going to press on the wall, lift my hips up, move them to the left, and then using my right foot, I don't even know who I am now at this point, let alone rights and lefts. I'm just inching that foot down the wall until I can feel something. If I've already felt a big stretch before I can feel something, I need to lift the wall closer to me, so I need a bigger bolster. And then once I've reached something, I'm going to rest on it. I'm going to just angle that bolster because I really liked that last time, so it's actually angled in the same angle as my leg, so I've got support under the knee and the ankle. And then I can just have my hand there. It's not pulling it down, it's just resting. Could also have my arm out. When my left shoulder's come up, I'm going to pat it. And then because the shoulder's up, I'm just going to hold on to the ribs here instead of yanking it somewhere where the shoulder's a bit higher. It's not so safe for my shoulder. And then settling in, last hold. Hopefully remember to leave that 30% as a chance for your body to expand and melt into the pose. If you haven't left enough space, back out a little bit, come a bit higher, find something that is more sustainable, more room to melt. It's a different way of practicing being. Doing less so that you can actually just be there longer. Oh, all the life lessons we have from yoga practice. Allowing your breath to show you how to relax. Allowing the earth to hold you. Just be supported. We're so independent and autonomous and alone. Sometimes we have to learn to be held. If we've provided a safe, stable, secure environment, why not lean into it? Taking the last 3 deep breaths here. So then let's uncross this leg. Let's bring the left foot back on top of the right foot and the left knee back on top of the right knee. And let's wriggle. Use the wall with your heels and the balls of the feet. Just move the blanket out the way. Roll back onto your back, and where you moved your hips to the left, you probably want to move them back to center. Make sure you're centered. You could at this point just take your feet wide and just support your thighs with your hands so they're upright. Or again, you could take your heels up the wall. Got some space between the bum and the wall, so it's very, very minimal. You could even turn the toes out now. And just rest. And the best way to rest after all of this would be to come out into Shavasana, and that's where I'm going to leave you now. So you're going to bend your knees and roll onto one side. I recommend rolling to the side where the bolster is not, so you don't have any obstacles. And as you push yourself up, let your head stay heavy so that you're coming up like still with the nervous system nice and relaxed. And then I invite you to lie down on your back. You could use the bolster under your knees, blanket over your body and rest. I hope that after your rest, this gives you either a really nice sleep, so if you're doing this at bedtime, or a nice kind of expansive way of being and interacting with your day. So have a great time, and thanks for being with me, and see you next time.